live in the dungeon. This is the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Strawn.
This is one that I actually don't have any idea where to start or what I even need to say about this one because I'm confused.
Yeah. Well, okay. Then let me read it.
Okay, this is a Black Mirror, actually. Black Mirror put out a movie called Bandersnatch.
Can I ask us a question?
Yes.
What is Black Mirror?
It's a series that's like Twilight Zone.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, so they have different... Oh,
I thought it's a series on Netflix. They put on Netflix, and it's in English.
It's in English,
British.
Yeah,
but it's actually pretty. I've watched the first season completely. I haven't watched anything after that, but the first season was pretty good.
I thought the first.
And this was a movie that was part of the series, and I didn't know anything about this until I saw it on Netflix. I'm like, it's an hour and a half, and it's a Black Mirror.
Well,
it's about a computer programmer.
But to say that it's an hour and a half,
computer programmer, 1984.
Yeah,
the guy who wrote like code for video games, basically.
He begins to question reality as he works to adapt a fantasy novel into a video game.
And it was a choose your own adventure, which I used to love those books when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
Like I used to get those books and flip around.
Now, my son used to be into those books where you would. I mean, none of them were as thick as that one.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it surprised me because they had one that was like 3.5 inches, 4 inches thick, and I was like, wow, that must have been a hell of a story.
It was like The Lord of the Rings or something.
Yeah. Well, but let us let people in on.
Do you want to hear the rest of this review? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You have 10 seconds to decide.
That is perfect. That's exactly what this was all about.
Right. The consensus is yes.
The consensus is yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep on going.
Continue.
Yeah. That was the interesting, and it was interesting only to this extent. It was interesting, except for they didn't have that many paths. Did you notice that? There wasn't a lot there.
And there was actually a wrong path, which I think is wrong for this kind of thing.
No, there were several that circled immediately back.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And made you kept getting circled back.
And then every time you looped back, did you notice this? It would give you a review of where you were in that position.
Which I found annoying.
Which was that really annoying. I mean,
And then some cases where they'll give you one choice.
Yeah.
After you missed it a couple times, they would only give you one.
Did you notice this? That remember I said well, I'm just going to go right. I'm going to go right the first time. I'm going to go all right. Because I didn't trust myself to try and remember.
I wrote down all my choices, but
see, I wasn't going to.
It doesn't really matter. Really doesn't matter.
So I went to the right, and then I was kind of all excited about it, and I thought, well, the next time I'm going to go just left all the way. And here's the funny thing about it is, left had all the blind alleys in it, right? So as soon as I went left. I would go a couple questions, and then it would loop around, and I would wind up on the right side again.
So here's the thing: we thought we were controlling the character in this,
right?
But I think the director was controlling us as a viewer because he wanted us to see a certain path.
That's right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that really,
there should have been 5 different endings, and
well, I don't think that. The thing is, there was only actually one story here.
Right.
I mean, most of it was incredibly tiny stuff.
Yeah, little details. And they also hinted at what choice you should make.
Right, but
the second time you went through, they were a little bit more.
The second time, they were a little bit more insistent upon you going that way.
In fact, there's one the guy played Colin. He actually said, "Wrong choice, buddy. Why don't you try again?"
Well,
he actually literally said that.
Well, also there was a case where somebody had to do something, jump off of something.
Yeah.
And then if you went to the other character,
see, I never went to I picked the main character to jump off. No. I picked Colin to jump off.
And that was interesting.
Colin was the guy the blonde guy, right?
Yeah.
I picked him to jump, but I didn't pick the other guy.
But then in either case, it just went black and you wound up in the same place again. See, that's the thing. that's the thing, is too many times you wound up on the same track. And unfortunately, like I said, is the right track went really smooth. Boom, 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 boom. When I got into the left track, it kept diving me back into the right track. And I kept looping right back over there. I'm going, no, I'm trying to go this way.
I was going to do this a third time, but I said, forget it. Because I was going to watch it without making any choices. And just see if it was just a movie, straightforward movie, without making any choices. Like, it just did it.
But that's the thing, is I think that it was a fairly straightforward movie.
But it's a great concept, and I would like to see it in a movie theater. That'd be kind of fun to... I mean, it'd be hard to... You have to wire it up.
How would you do that?
Maybe you could do an app.
Maybe you had a group of people and they canceled each other out until they got the most of whatever one, right?
Right.
So the most yeses...
We only have
the most
10 seconds.
Right. Yeah, 10 seconds you make it. But also I hate... I don't like the narrative conceit of it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, it is.
The thing is it disrupts your narrative.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have a flow to itself. So here's the thing is as I'm sitting here trying to remember it, I remember it as these little bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't become to me a story that I put together in a linear aspect. In other words,
if it didn't do the thing where it rewound itself,
right,
and it just kept going forward, you would remember it,
right?
If you did it once,
yeah. But even then, the delay of 10 seconds every 2 minutes is so distracting to your sense of the story that.
So I think this would be great for horror. Like if you were either the victim's point of view, or the killer's point of view.
Right, but you know what? The real you have to not have 10 seconds in.
Right.
You have to have immediate.
Right. Okay.
You know, if you just waved your hand and it took you one way or the other, that would.
I think you have to shoot immediate. 5 movies really to make this work. Like 5 different movies with 5 different endings and 5 different paths.
Yeah. Would you like to continue with this episode, or would you like to continue with this episode? You chose to continue with this episode.
5 different movies with 5 different endings and 5 different paths.
Yeah, but I don't think it had that many different endings.
It didn't.
I think it only had one ending.
No, that's what I'm saying. The director was controlling us. The joke was on us.
Well, I think the real joke.
The real joke was Pac-Man?
I think the real joke was the director was in there too.
Program and control. He was controlling us.
I wanted to point out.
Which, by the way, I hate Pac-Man because I've always hated that. It always frustrated me.
There was a couple things that this made me think of.
The Blade Runner type of music that's always in a lot of these series. Have you noticed that? In the sci-fi movies, it's almost like the same music every time.
Oh, right. Yeah, no. It's got that. You're right. It is. It's the Blade Runner music was very advanced for its time, but it was also incredibly neutral, and has kind of withstood the test of time.
Yeah,
that particular
style,
and it's almost a cross between the 2 odd records that are in there. The Tangerine Dream and the other one is right in between those two is the quote-unquote science fiction soundtrack.
I did learn one lesson from this movie. You can't get away from talking about your mother.
Mom! Mommy! Mama! Ma!
You have to talk about it.
You have to. Right. That's right. You can't. I was going to say that in about 19... I had done Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And a group came to me.
We're already doing a story time?
Story time.
It's story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick. Story time with Mick.
And a group came to me and had a concept that was very much along the lines of this. It was kind of a Lost in Hollywood concept, and therefore they could pull in like a bunch of TV or a bunch of elements off of different movies and stuff, and they were trying to tie this all together. And the thing is it was right about the period of this. So the graphics were terrible and everything. And they came to me as being an art director for it. And I was like, well, guys, the thing is I designed sets and stuff. And they go, yeah, well, we want some amazing set work and stuff. But it was honest to God, it was like 85. And I was like, well, wait a minute. You guys don't have the capability to do anything like that.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
But we're thinking of filming pieces of it and letting you in one little film piece at a time. And the technology, and the thing is I think that they were all completely full of shit.
It had to have been.
Well, they were an interactive game.
You wouldn't
company.
have the room on the computer, would you? At that point, I mean,
Well, yeah,
memory and all.
No, you had
know what I mean?
no ability to
For
do
video.
that.
No,
What they were doing is, now it wasn't video. It was like a interactive tape or something, or a set of tapes or something.
oh,
The thing is they were very vague about it, and I kept thinking to myself, these guys are too vague. And I was kind of like a little into games and computers, and I knew that if they were to give me a project like that, they would have to have something that, would have NOR gates. You know how different gates work? Mm-hmm. And you had to be able to make those decisions and go from one thing to the other. And I just couldn't see how they could do it. I mean, not and have a production designer at that point.
Right.
Of course. I mean, look, maybe 20 years later, they did do that.
Yeah.
But it was.
I know I played video games like that, but like turn left. They referenced in a couple of them, but I'm talking about later on in the '90s. There were some better games that were a lot more choose your own adventure kind of thing, but you actually just controlled the character.
Right.
I mean,
there was an element in there where there was a certain drug that came out at some point.
yeah.
And they did a couple of cool things that were reminiscent of acid.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
And
that was an interesting part where he's like, he has to be opened up or whatever.
Yeah. Because you know what? There's an aspect to that that is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I've ever taken any acid myself. No.
Huh.
No. But anyway,
I wrote down how long would this movie take like 4 times in my notes.
Yeah,
and I haven't even mentioned anything out of my notes because it's too confusing.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, it all got confusing. I did a chessboard one time.
Story time.
Story time with Mick. Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick. Story time with Mick.
I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen the one that I made out of metal? The doesn't have any. It has absolutely no right angles in it.
No.
Oh, you've never seen a chessboard that doesn't have any right angles? Oh my gosh!
I've seen that crazy chessboard that was like 3 or 4 levels that Sheldon made on Big Bang Theory.
No. This is better. This is much better than that, my friend. Oh no. This is much weirder than that. Anyway, the thing is I made a chess set that was so weird. And just talking about some of the grips that we would deal with, some of them were quite possibly burnouts and stuff. And I was photographing this chess set, which it's a weird affair. And I was on a stage. And I decided, well, while I've got this huge room around it, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to take pictures of my chess set. And I made this for Ian.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
See, it has no right angles, right? Nowhere is there a right angle on it, right?
The pieces are amazing, though.
Yeah, but even the board itself is
the board itself.
And the great thing about it is it feels like everything's just floating in the air, and it's all just these weird and I'm photographing on this in this huge empty stage because I could get it make it look like it was floating right in empty building, enormous empty building. And this grip walks up to me and he looks at me down on the ground, taking pictures, and he looks at me for a while and he goes, "I swear to God, in 1975, that thing chased me around for 2 weeks," and then he turned around and walked off. And I thought to myself, yeah, now there's a
nailed
guy.
it.
There's a guy. Yeah, nailed it. Nailed it. So when I talk about acid, that's all I want to say.
Right.
Right. See?
MC Escher, basically. Melting things.
When I talk about acid, this is what I mean.
Yeah, there you
right
go.
Here. Got it?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
We're already doing a story time?
I guess it must have been.
Wow. No, I did that on purpose because I was going to work that into the...
Right.
I was going to have the music play. Then I was going to have me say that. Then I was going to have you go to the story. See?
Come back. Well, yeah, so...
I know I do weird things and you're like, what the hell are you doing? And then when I put out the episode, you're like,
I see what you're saying. I have to tell you, you're so good at this. And you put these things together so well. And then I come back in and I go, oh, I see why we said that.
I did kind of crowbar Wayne's World into one.
Oh, you did you crowbarred that sucker in, man. That was like...
And any excuse to use Monty Python, I'm all over that.
Fun stuff, huh?
So this has potential to be something interesting, I think.
Well, I
think a project that would take 5 or 10 years would probably be awesome.
Yeah. I was going to add the most interesting thing is you walk away from it at the end wondering, and you remember what I texted you before I got into this by 5 minutes? Yeah. I texted you this. I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to text Kurt, and here's what I'm going to say. I am going to say... bastard. Blah, 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 blah. Da, da, da. It's starting to feel like Bandersnatch. Like Bandersnatcher is going to be one of those media experiences where it's the game within the game that's watching me create a game that's the game. And you know what? I stand by that. Damn it!
It's also one that I had to do. I had to do it a second time, even though I didn't really want to.
Oh well, I did too.
I skipped ahead the 10-second thing on Netflix so I could get through it faster.
Oh well, that's exactly what I was doing.
The second time I did that.
But you know what? You can download, and by the way, you can download tools now. There's an app for Netflix specifically that you can take. You can go in there and you can adjust the speed. You can really crank it up. I mean, like 3 or 4. Yeah.
I still have mixed
3 or 4.
about that, though.
It goes, and you know what it does? It goes to 11.
I'd like to absorb the pacing of the director.
You know what?
I want to get into the body and spirit of the film. In fact, I'd like to slow things down a little bit and see people talk clearly.
If you can't say something nice, don't say something at all.
But yeah.
Okay.
So don't you think the story was kind of mediocre?
Yeah, I thought the story was mediocre.
The acting was great.
Here's the thing. I thought that the acting was good, but the character that I liked the best, I didn't get to see much of. And it was the second gamer, the main gamer.
The Colin guy.
Yeah, Colin.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Oh, he was totally awesome.
Yeah. Well, I thought everybody was awesome. Even the dad was good.
Yeah. The dad, No,
he wanted to think he was a douchebag, but really he wasn't. And then there was some weird story that came out about him that I won't ruin, but that was interesting.
Here's the odd thing about him, and I don't understand this, and this is a freebie to all people who are listening to this right now, is there's a point where he's walking out of his room at the very beginning, right? And he carefully locks the door to his room or his office. Now that's suspicious, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There was never even a hint that you could go back and find out why he had to lock the door to his room or his office. And he was so obvious about it. Obviously, there was something written that they discarded that had to do with that room. It was like a whole other pathway.
There is something. Because doesn't he get the key? The main actor, the main character got the key.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, well, do I have to go back?
He got the key at one point.
Oh, yeah?
Well, he had he had a vision, and it said, go get the key and unlock the door.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And then go through there, and that was the thing that he was trying to open with the code. I don't know if you got that far.
Yeah.
So he was trying to open something with the code. It was a file cabinet. Let's say it's a file cabinet.
Oh, okay.
But it had like a code on it.
I didn't.
So they did allude to it. So maybe you went down a different way.
Maybe I went in a different path.
So maybe there are like more than one path, but there's only one ending. Looks like. Anyway.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, I think that this had possibilities. I did like watching to the very end. Where I remember I was also talking to you and saying, well, it feels like this one's just going to turn right back around and that we're actually going to be trapped in here watching it. And the next thing, sure enough, that's exactly what it was.
I did like how they included Netflix.
Netflix.
They included me in the story.
Yeah,
it was great.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No, I was included, not you.
Oh, yeah, I was too.
No, I was.
No, I was.
I was.
So what they should do, somebody should do a 30-minute episode of something.
And then throw it in there.
But no, let's do a 30-minute episode, but do like 5 or 8 endings or different paths.
Right.
And then make this work like a little bit more, so everybody sees a different movie.
And here's the problem, though. The problem with this is this was just one story.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like have it one that's like 5 stories.
Right, 5 stories.
But do a shorter version so you can shoot it in, like, you know what I mean? Like, otherwise it would take forever.
I wouldn't even do it as 5 stories. I would do it as just 2 stories that can be intertwined. But there wasn't 2 stories here. There was one story with 2
endings, two stories.
Yeah. There wasn't here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like a horror movie would be great. Like different people die.
Oh, right. Yeah.
In different ways.
Right.
And then have the ending completely different.
You know what
have
that's
called? Have a sad ending and a good ending.
Oh, and you know what we could call it? A video game.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Wait a minute.
We could do a Leatherface, call it a Leather Snatch or something. I don't know, never mind.
Bondo Snatcher. So I think that you're right. I like the acting a lot. I like the look of it.
It looked really great. Yeah, actually. And I like
really
the main
good.
character was probably one of the better actors, I thought.
Yeah.
Like Fionn Whitehead.
Also, there was an edge of lunacy and panic that he did well.
Absolutely.
Which is, by the way, something that another film that we just recently saw was seriously lacking. Was a sense of panic amongst the characters.
Yes.
This one guy exuded more panic just in his own mind than that entire cast and crew, and they were in the middle of like a robotic rampage.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves. Well, he has no. I don't know if I think he's a robot.
Is he a robot?
Maybe he's a clone. Anyway.
Well, okay. Well, enough of that crap. Oh,
we should rate it. Yeah.
Yeah, we should rate it. Yeah.
Actually, for a Netflix, it was a
pretty
little
good
bit above average.
Yeah, I you know what? I'm going to go to 3.1.
See, I would give it 3.5, but I'm going to give it 3.2 because I felt like I was forced to have a certain ending, and
I was forced to give it.
I was kind of annoyed by the whole thing.
I was
after a while. I was like, "Why am I doing this?"
True. It's really true. I got to tell you, there was a certain aspect of it where, especially when I went the other route to the left, and it kept pushing me back, and I thought, did I make all the right choices the first time just by sticking to the right? Because the left didn't do me good.
Well, I did it twice, and I was like, "Why did I make any choice? Why didn't I just watch it?
It didn't make a difference."
Yeah.
The thing about the fingernails or the hand, right? Yeah, that wasn't a difference. So, anyway, you don't know what we're talking about at all.
No.
I did kind of like the music to it. You know, not so much when I was listening to it in double speed. When I went through it the second time. By the way, it got a little bit trippy there, you know.
Oh, of
double
course.
speed second time when we went through the acid thing. Oh, I was going to explain something that was kind of cool. Is something that they had that was of the time was they were using Sinclair computers, which is like just as keyboard as
Yeah, I noticed
computer.
that.
Right. And remember, at some point I thought that we were talking, and I said, yeah, Sinclair started in the 70s. And you think that Apple was the first that had, you know.
Well, I remember the Commodores.
You once, twice, 3 times a lady, and I love.
Well, the Commodore
64 or whatever it was.
Commodore 64, right, and the Apple IIe.
I remember those.
And I think IBM actually had a PS1 or something at the same time. But 10 years before that, there was a Sinclair computer, which was basically set up just like the Commodore 64 was. You know, it used a tape recorder for its backup. It used a TV for a monitor, and it cost $100. And the thing is it basically was just a membrane, right? And the computer, it was a thick membrane. It kind of like looked like a wedge, and the computer part was in that, and yet it was maybe the size of 2 CDs next to each other.
Yeah,
that was the whole thing, and that's what they were using there. Was there? I think that they kind of had the next version up from what I had, because I had one in the 70s, and this was an 80s version, so it was a little bit bigger, but it was just a membrane in a black. Yeah,
wow.
That was British. That was the British version of the Apple IIe.
I also like seeing the video games. That was interesting because I obviously grew up with Atari.
Yeah,
so.
right. Yeah, but
not to date myself too much. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we've rated it.
Mm-hmm. We even had a little story.
We had a story. We talked back and forth.
Yes, I think we're doing a fine job.
You know what? I think we're marvelous.
Yes.
Marvelous.
And the people listening to us made the right decision.
I think that I think that you've come to the right place.
And there's only one ending to this episode. Thanks for joining us on the Dream Warrior Review podcast. Don't forget to tell your friends about us, follow us, and, of course, like us. We can be found on Podbean, which is an amazing app, YouTube, Stitcher, Alexa on any pod, iTunes, Google Play. We're on Twitter as well, at DW Review, and, of course, Facebook. You can find us there. You can also email us at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com.